Hey my friends. So today I am working on making a garland for my little holiday junky journal. And this is using recycled mail, junk mail that came, and it's kind of a cardstocky type of a postcard weight. And I made this little, flexible garland, which I thought was really cute. And I made it, of course, for my little book that I'm working on, but I think it's a little too big for it. So here you see my main spread in the middle, and it's just a little too big, but it could totally work in a bigger journal, like this one where you have bigger pages. And it's fun. It's fluid. You could glue them all down if you wanted. You could do it on the side of the page like that. Drape it. It's just a lot of fun. So I wanted to show you how I did this. What I used was a piece of, junk mail, and basically paint it. Here's a bunch of little tiny circles I did. You can see here's what I started with. So basically what I do is I just use, cheap glue, or not glue, cheap paint. This is, just a dollar bottle paint or 79 cents apple barrel paint. And I'm just basically painting on this with a scraper, old credit card. And so I used a little bit of green, and then I used a tiny bit of red. And I need to be careful because this is pretty vibrant red, but that's okay, right? If it's junky Christmas journal. And so basically you're painting on here. Probably a little too much red for me. I'm just gonna take some of that red off like that. Blue probably wasn't the best background for that. Sorry about that, you guys. I use a little bit of white, maybe a lot of white this time, but basically I'm just creating mixed media background, paint background. Take it off, right? It can really be anything, and these can be used, not only for Christmas but for other times of the year. And so then once this is dry, for this particular one, if I want to use it for Christmas, I'll probably put like more green on it or more red on it. I'll show you this other piece, which is what I had done earlier. So you see I left some of the visibility on the scrap, on the cardstock. I left that on there because I like how it brings dimension to your painted background. And then I have a 1-inch punch, and I basically will cut out the circles into 1-inch circles. Oh, before I do that though, when this is dry, I actually stamped on it. So I have some background stamps that I'm using. This was the one I used in this particular one, and I used green ink to stamp over it. But that's basically what I did to get the background. And it looks kind of messy until you poke circles out, and then the circles look pretty cool. So, and I really kind of like the barcode look. So there's a barcode in there. I'm not going to get an inch out of that, unless I'm very careful. There we go. Right? And then you can totally use this in a background also. You can see, like, that's what it looks like on a white page. So it's pretty cool. And then what I did was I took these, well, before I took it to my sewing machine, I actually used a distress ink around the edge. So this is frayed burlap. And I basically edged it, each little circle, to give it a little bit of an outline. Now, if you don't have the distress ink, you could totally use a marker, like a Sharpie. I do that a lot, actually, when I'm making little cards and stuff like that. I'll use a Sharpie around the edge, or a marker. A big one, you know, a bigger one, and then I just gently go around the edge. So you could even take it up a notch with these circles and do other stamps on them. So for example, I have this little circle stamp. It's pretty old. I got it a long time ago. Close to My Heart, I think, was the brand. And then you could use another color of ink. So I'm going to use red ink and just kind of, you know, stamp on them if you want. Take it up a notch. Okay. And then once it's dry, you can take it to your sewing machine. And what I did was I just stitched down. I started with a little tiny scrap of ribbon on the end. You don't have to, but I did to start my thread. And then I stitched down the center of each little circle, and I left a couple stitches in between to give it that flexibility. You don't want to butt them up right next to each other, but give them a little bit of space. And that's it. And then when you come to the end, you attach another little tiny piece of ribbon at the end. And so, turned out really cute. I like it. You could also probably do the back. I didn't paint the back of my card. You could do this with old Christmas cards if you have a circle punch and you want to punch that out. And you could do this all throughout the year with, you know, different things. So, so yeah, and I think with my little book, what I think I might do instead is I cut out these little tiny punches. These are 1/2 inch. And I think what I might do is take a strip of, where did I put it? This is my little leftover piece of, here it is, my leftover piece of grocery bag. You can see it's just a little brown bag. And I think because these are too small to go through my sewing machine, I am actually going to glue those down to this paper. And it won't be a true garland unless I figure out how to make it work, but I'm just using what's on my table. And so I'm going to spread these out just a little bit. And actually, before I go on, I am going to, I did not ink these little guys. They're just super tiny. And then I'm going to create a little garland like this. And again, I'm trying to get my lighting right, you guys, so you can actually see the true colors here, but they're not quite showing on the video. So that's what I think I'm going to do. And so I'm going to call that my garland. And then what I think I will do is, I kind of liked it on the edge of the page as like a edge, like a little border on one of the pages. So we'll see how much I need. I probably don't need all of these. But all of this stuff, if I don't use it on one page, I'll probably use it on another. Right, so it looks like that. It's nice and flat, so it's not going to stick out too far. Oops. And then I can stick it on another page in my book. So, for example, I can stick it on this page. on the edge like that. Let's just do that today. It's still wet. Probably should have let it dry a bit, but that's all right. I'm just going to put a bead of glue down the page like that. And then just glue this right on down like that. And I will call that my garland. If I slide it just a bit, it'll be right on the edge. And I want to say Garland is today's prompt. Today's prompt, well, yesterday, so today's the 12th or the 13th. So I need to do candy canes next. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed looking at this and joining me as I made a little tiny garland for my book.